What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today I'm doing a dry run. I got my Trendblown shirt on again. So basically, this is going to be kind of a new trend rant video. I'm going to be doing a dry run for a new video series that I'm thinking about titling The Matrix Revealed. I mentioned in my previous video about Louis Vuitton that the new Louis Vuitton collection is so insane that it basically proves that we're living in the Matrix, because no logical, reasonable, real world would possibly have this event occur in it. There's been so many things going on in our world that are the very definition of just total fucking insanity. It's like, the signs and symptoms that you're in a dream. When you're in a dream state, things just don't make sense. They don't add up. And eventually, sometimes you figure it out. But pretty much universally, when you wake up from a nightmare, which is clearly what we're living in, there's a tremendous sense of relief when you realize that this world that you were existing in, that was so comical and unbelievable and horrifying, wasn't actually real. And so what I think I'm going to start doing is a series of videos where I spot and talk about examples of how the Matrix is being revealed to us. So today, the discussion at hand is about the FAA. The Federal Aviation Administration has added their name to the list of people who are revealing that we, in fact, are living in the fucking Matrix. If you haven't seen this, everybody's reporting on this. I think I'm going to be reading from Fox News today, but you can find the same data no matter where you look. The Federal Aviation Administration is now facing criticism for their decision to get into this DEI thing, which they tell us, notice they tell us, that it stands for diversity, equality, and inclusion. Okay, that's what they tell us that it means. What it actually means in reality, if you're a business owner, you get sucked into this DEI fucking wormhole, what you are actually doing is destroying, eradicating, and incinerating. If you hire people based on this insane DEI idea, you will destroy your business, you will eradicate your customer base, and you will incinerate all of the money and gains and prosperity that you've had in your business up until that point. DEI has got to be one of the most toxic fucking ideas known to man. And this all proceeds from the destruction of the most important member of our society, the bully. See, our society used to be far better off than it is today, because we had these people in our societies that formed kind of a checks and balances system. So if you were going to high school or middle school or wherever, or maybe even in the workplace, and you started to get a little weird, you started to get a little out of control, you started wearing a fucking skirt if you were a boy, or any number of fucking crazy things that your brain might cook up and tell you was a good idea, along would come a bully to haze and make fun of you and pick on you and maybe even take you out to the flagpole and beat your ass. And then that would kind of shake the fucking cobwebs free from inside your brain that was slowly rotting away, and you'd go, oh, holy shit, I was getting ready to go down this crazy path into becoming a total freak of nature, and I was going to be one of the people that is systematically destroying the world that we live in. But unfortunately, enough of these people slipped through the cracks. The bullies didn't catch them and didn't straighten them out. They didn't get hazed enough, probably because their parents pulled them out of school and secreted them away somewhere so they would have to cope with their reality. And then these people got into decision-making power, into decision-making positions at various companies, and they started creating all of these idiotic ideas about how we have to care too much about everybody's feelings. We can't have anybody getting their feelings hurt. And some of the first signs and symptoms we saw of this is in various social media platforms, where you could see like Like, for example, on a YouTube video, I think this is true today. Used to, you could see how many people had thumbed up or thumbed down my video. Now I think the users can only see the thumbs up, maybe. I can see the thumbs down. You know, you can't, you couldn't, they want to hide likes on various different platforms because they said, well, you know, if a person, you know, if one girl posts a bunch of selfies and she gets like 10,000 likes, and then another less attractive girl posts some selfies and she only gets, you know, 10 or 20 likes, well then that negatively affects her self-esteem. So we can't have anybody feel good about themselves because it always comes at the cost of somebody else feeling bad about themselves, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. So that's why I don't turn the hate comments off on my channel. I need haters. Haters actually keep me honest. So when ACCC gets in here and hates all over me, you know, sometimes maybe he's going to point, most of the time, unfortunately, he's kind of just an idiot, you know, like his hate is not really constructive. But some haters are constructive. Some haters are going to point out like, hey man, you know, maybe you're a little lacking in your lower back a little bit, or, you know, you're looking a little chubby, or you're looking a little bloated on all that test. You know, sometimes a hater can be productive and point out something that you're not seeing, and maybe your fans are less likely to point out, and that creates a checks and balance system. So we need people who tell us positive things, and we need people who tell us negative things so we can find the happy medium that we build our egos and our personalities around. And so, but our world doesn't agree with this idea. Our world wants to tell us that no matter what kind of a freak of fucking nature you are, or how unfit you are for a job, or how unintelligent you are, or in this case, how severely disabled you are. What the FAA is seeking to do, try to wrap your head around this. They are going to seek out and target. They're going to target their hiring process. They are going to look for, quote, individuals with targeted or severe disabilities are the most underrepresented segment of the federal workforce, the FAA site states before it details the targeted disabilities that the agency is actively working to recruit, okay? So this is the people that it wants to recruit because they say they don't have enough of these people currently working at the FAA. And that's unfair because it's not inclusive, it's not representing equality, and it's not creating a diverse workplace. So in order to have this, to meet these DEI goals, they now are going to go out and look for effectively what is the absolute worst people to hire for a job. These people should be at the bottom of the barrel. They should get basically no fucking jobs. I mean, there's things I'm sure they can do, but flying airplanes is not fucking one of them. And really probably not working anywhere in the Federal Aviation Administration, period. So here are the targeted disabilities that the FAA is looking for. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. Just to clarify, severe intellectual disability is defined by the Cleveland Clinic as, quote, people with severe intellectual disability have an average mental age of between 3 and 6 years old. They use single words, phrases, and or gestures to communicate. They benefit from daily care and support with activities and daily life. These people are not capable of living on their own. These are adults that have less brain computing power than my daughter, who you may have seen briefly on a video. Okay, so imagine that I said to you, I want to hire my 6-year-old daughter to go to work for the Federal Aviation Administration. What fucking job could she possibly qualify for. I wouldn't even have her mopping the fucking floors. She's a 6-year-old. She doesn't even need to be having access to the chemicals with which she would clean a toilet. And she's far beyond the capacity of a normal 6-year-old. So we're going to target people with an average mental age of 3 to 6 years old and give them jobs at the Federal Aviation Administration because they are underrepresented in the workforce. Thank God. You know what else is underrepresented in the workforce? Chimpanzees. There's like no chimpanzees in the workforce. I don't understand this. What kind of like fucking speciesism is this that we don't employ chimpanzees? Chimpanzees are very intelligent creatures. They're far more intelligent, in fact, probably than these adult humans with a mental age of 3 to 6 years old. So maybe we should start hiring chimps to fly fucking airplanes. You know, maybe what about silverback gorillas? You know, we could diversify into the silverback gorilla arena, and maybe we could put them to work doing shit. Maybe we could, you know what we could do is maybe we could hire silverback gorillas to work in like warehouses. Maybe we could train them to like stack boxes and shit. They're pretty fucking strong. Maybe not even need a forklift anymore. You could just have silverbacks just fucking running around stacking up fucking pallets and shit. You know, we've got elephants that paint. So maybe what you know what we could have done? What we should have done is we should have contacted the powers that be at Louis Vuitton and said, look, don't hire Pharrell. He's clearly a fucking idiot, and he's going to design the worst Louis Vuitton collection known to man. What you need to do is hire an elephant to paint your silhouettes. The elephant will design the new Louis Vuitton ready-to-wear collection, and then we can have the artisans, the fucking 300 artisans that work at the state-of-the-art sweatshop in Alvarado, Texas, to fabricate the designs that the elephant painted. Then Louis Vuitton would be really diverse. They would be the first fucking company on the earth to employ a pachyderm and have them be the lead designer for a fucking French luxury brand. I mean, if you're going to argue that you can hire completely paralyzed people to go to work for you, doing what? What are they going to do? You going to put them in the cockpit and like, they're going to be like the spotter? Or like what are they going to do? Like just strap them in a chair and like your job is to like wear night vision goggles and scan the horizon for UFOs? What are these people going to do? What is a person with a mental age of 3 to 6 years old going to do at the FAA? Please, somebody help me understand this. Because we also have on the list people with severe psychiatric disabilities. Okay, these are people who are not even allowed to own firearms. What are you going to do? You're going to give them a fucking plane? Did anybody learn anything from 9/11? Now, I don't believe I don't believe for 10 seconds that those planes were hijacked and flown into buildings. And I damn sure don't believe that there was a plane hit the Pentagon, because there's not a single fucking solitary shred of evidence that that occurred. So again, I'm not getting into that topic right now, but what I'm saying is, like, what the severe psychiatric disability? How long is it going to be before one of these people goes insane on an airplane and turns it into a weapon and just decides, fuck it, you know, I'm taking myself out of here, and 250 people on this plane, I'm going to crash land it into God knows what. I mean, this kind of shit here is what I mean when I say we are clearly living in the Matrix. This is, in fact, the Matrix revealed. You cannot script this shit. There is no logical, reasonable foundation. They want 3% of their entire workforce to be made up of people who fit this category of, what was it called? Targeted disabilities. 3% of their workforce is either going to be hearing impaired, vision impaired, missing some number of extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric disabilities, and dwarfism. Now, clearly there's jobs for some of these people, but at the end of the day, this is a fucking catastrophically bad idea. What we should be doing in this country is hiring the best and the brightest. And if you only hire the best and the brightest, then you incentivize everybody else to be the best and the brightest. And I understand not everybody is fit to split the atom, okay? I got a kid, you know, my oldest son is not splitting the atom, okay? He is never going to be an astrophysicist. Maybe one day he will make one hell of a good Whataburger. Maybe. With a lot of fucking training and practice, he might be able to grill up a really good fucking burger. And you know what? That's important. That's important. He might be able to dig really good ditches or pull cable around on the inside of a home. There's a lot of jobs that our society desperately needs people to be employed in. Not everybody needs to be a doctor and a lawyer. We need ditch diggers and plumbers and fucking electricians and we need all kinds of things. But forcing people into jobs that they're not going to succeed in is only making a mockery of them, and it's making a mockery of the business that's employing them. And so this type of thought process is absolutely toxic. It's cancerous, okay? DEI is going to destroy your business, eradicate your customer base, and incinerate all of the profits and reputation that your company has built over the years. And it is just one of many idiotic woke policies that are absolutely rotting our nation from within. And so how anybody in this country right now can be sitting around believing that the federal government is doing anything other than basically a controlled demolition project of our country. I mean, that's what they're doing. What the federal government is doing when they pass, when they do stupid bullshit like this, it's the equivalent of when you go into a building and you set explosive charges to bring it down in its own footprint. Our government is systematically attempting to intentionally destroy this country. There's no two ways about it. There's no possible way that taking jobs away from qualified individuals and giving them to unqualified individuals can possibly advance your company or your country. So this is an example, as I said in the beginning of this video, of the fact that the matrix has been revealed again. There's no way that we are living in a world that is run by people that have any computing power at all. This is clearly a fucking joke that we all need to recoil from in unison. So there you have it. There will probably be many more examples of this. If you happen to see an example of the Matrix revealed and you would like to get my take on it, feel free to mention it or link it in the comments below. I'm sure there's going to be a never-ending supply of this because it's like every literal fucking time I click on the news, I find some new piece of evidence that the entire fucking world we are living in has gone totally fucking insane. Completely, totally insane. So there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and comment in the section below. And when I find more examples of the Matrix revealed, I will be back to expose them. So, probably means I'm about to die suddenly. You're gonna next video is gonna be Sarah on here going, I don't know, it's weird. He just like dropped dead in the middle of the night, or I don't know, there was like a knock at the door and he got arrested on some bullshit warrants. They're probably gonna be taking me out of here one way or the other because they definitely don't want the truth that Trenbolone reveals to you to be revealed to the people. They want to keep you dumb and ignorant. That's why they keep you fighting amongst yourselves, giving you all this stupid shit to fight about so that you don't pay attention to what's going on in the background. And what's going on in the background, I promise you, is a controlled demolition project that is intended to destroy this nation. So, as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.